Uno de los principales problemas de la gente que empieza en Amazon KDP es encontrar un buen nicho y encontrar palabras clave rentables para ese nicho. Por eso, en el vídeo de hoy te voy a presentar a una experta, una persona que lleva 1,5 millones de euros generados con Amazon y lleva años viendo la plataforma. Una persona que controla muy bien la herramienta Helium 10 y que te va a hacer un paseo por toda la herramienta para que tú puedas encontrar un buen nicho, para que además de ese nicho puedas encontrar buenas palabras clave y además puedas espiar a tu competencia y apalancarte de los datos y conocimiento que tu competencia ya ha generado en el mercado. Porque siempre digo que Amazon KDP es un negocio basado en datos. Y si tienes una herramienta que te permite conocer todos los datos del mercado hasta la fecha, te va a dar un apalancamiento brutal a la hora de posicionar tus libros. Por eso te doy la bienvenida, Shivali, a Libertad Editorial y espero que a ti te guste. Shivali, esto es tuyo. Bienvenida a Libertad Editorial.
Thank you, Matthias. I am so glad to be here. If you don't know me, my name is Shivali Patel. I'm a brand evangelist at Helium 10, as well as a KDP author and Amazon seller for physical products. Today, I'm going to talk through some tools that you can use on your selling journey. And if you don't know what Helium 10 is, then that's a software suite of tools that you can use starting all the way in product research, going into keyword research, listing optimization, and so forth. I'm going to share my screen, and what I recommend that you do is open up your Helium 10 account and follow along, because I do believe the best way to learn is by doing things hands-on. So when you are doing product research as a KDP author, there are many ways that you can go about doing that profitable search that you're looking for. I've gone through and I've done categories and subcategories before, meaning you're going into Amazon, you're typing in you're clicking, the Kindle store, and then maybe typing something in, or even just clicking the enter button, going through categories and subcategories. But this sort of thing can be really time consuming, even if you're using it in conjunction with a different extension like KD Spy or Publisher Rocket. Instead, what I recommend that you do is jump into our tools and go to black box underneath product research. Now, the cool thing about this tool is it processes over 2 billion data points daily, meaning that instead of having to scavenge through the different categories and subcategories on Amazon, you can now just input in the parameters that you have in mind and quickly find profitable ideas that you can then further validate. I'm going to run through a couple examples. There's actually a few tabs inside of this tool that you can leverage. For example, the products tab is going to give you a listing page. So let's just go back into this search that I had up here, mindfulness books for kids 9 through 12. And what I'm going to do is select this book right here. This is going to be an Amazon listing page and an example of something that I would get back as an output were I to use the products tab, which is the first tab inside of Blackbox. This has the buy now button, or maybe the add to cart and buy now button. You get the gist. However, that is not always the full picture, because when we are coming out with a brand new listing and brand new product, brand new book, right, you have 0 reviews and you're going to be competing with competitors who have more than 0 reviews naturally, right? So that is why I like using the keywords tab. That gives me a little bit more of a holistic viewpoint where I can now gauge what my competitors are doing and whether or not I'd really be able to compete with them. Some filters that let's just talk through here include search volume. This is a great way to gauge demand, meaning are there actually people already searching for a book idea? The thing is many times, especially as creatives, we have this feeling of wanting to run with an idea. We think something will be a good idea, but we shouldn't really base this off feeling alone. It needs to be backed by data, especially to make your time, money, and energy really worth it. That being said, for search volume, this is going to tell you that, yes, you know what? People are actually going into Amazon and typing in the search term that my book is centralized around. I'm going to just go ahead and type in a minimum of 1,000. You guys can type in whatever it is you like. And by the way, I recommend doing this search inside whichever marketplace you plan to sell in. Now, if you are a KDP author, you might want to sell in all of these, and that's totally cool. I just do all my research in the US marketplace, okay? Okay, the next filters that we're taking a look at here is monthly revenue and price point. This is exactly what it sounds like. How much revenue is being generated by those books inside of that keyword niche. And then you also have your retail price point. You have review count and review rating right next to it. Most of us don't purchase things that don't have social proof, and we don't purchase below a certain rating because there is such a plethora of choice on Amazon. And so you will want to perhaps find opportunity by seeking out those niches that are generating revenue. However, they don't have the ratings to back it up. Maybe they're just 3-star books and people are still buying them. What does that mean for you? Well, it means that if you come out with a killer book, a killer listing, then in theory, you can actually take a piece of that pie. You also have word count, and you might think, Shivali, why would word count even be on here? What is the significance of this? Great question. Well, we like to think of our consumer purchases, right? What are our consumer behaviors really like on Amazon? The longer words or the more words that we are typing into Amazon, the more likely it is that we are willing to purchase that item. When you go in and you're typing in 3, let's say instead of books, you were typing in something like mindfulness for kids 9 through 12. Well, that is much more specific, and now you're finding audiences that want to buy that sort of thing.
Sí, probablemente Shivali te esté volando la cabeza como me la voló a mí ya hace un par de años cuando empecé con Helium 10, y es una herramienta que me ha permitido pues generar decenas de miles de euros, como estoy seguro que te lo va a permitir generar a ti si aplicas todo lo que has aprendido y estás aprendiendo en este vídeo. Pero además del acceso a Helium 10, que te voy a dejar por aquí un código QR más el enlace aquí abajo para que te puedas registrar, si te registras con este enlace que tienes por aquí, vas a tener acceso a un descuento dentro de Helium 10, ¿vale? Solo por utilizar este enlace vas a tener acceso a un descuento que tienes especificado aquí abajo. Pero además de ese descuento, como Helium 10, por cada persona que acceda a este software por el enlace de afiliación que yo tengo, me va a dar una pequeña comisión. Es de bien nacido ser agradecido, y por eso, además de tener el descuento en Helium 10 accediendo a este enlace, vas a tener acceso a una formación privada, grabada por mí personalmente, una formación privada que no forma parte de Helium 10, es una formación que yo he grabado en español, para que saques el máximo rendimiento de esta herramienta. Para tener acceso a esa herramienta, apúntate esto porque es importante, para tener acceso a esa herramienta tienes que primero registrarte con este enlace que tienes aquí abajo, y segundo, enviarme un correo con el recibo de esa compra, ¿vale? Me envías el recibo a esta dirección que tienes aquí abajo, ¿vale? matías@editorial.com, y una vez me lo envíes yo te daré acceso a mi mini formación privada sobre Helium 10 con vídeos privados explicándote la herramienta paso a paso, cómo yo la utilizo. Y ahora, sin más, te dejo por aquí, que sigas disfrutando del vídeo de Shivali y que sigas metiéndole caña a Helium 10.
Then you have shipping sized here. I'm going to ignore this. I want you to remember that a lot of our tools are predominantly made for private label sellers, but it doesn't mean that they don't work for KDP authors, because I do use them for my own books as well. So let's just breeze through sized here. We have exclude keywords and include keywords. You're going to see these filters repeated throughout our tools, and you can use them. Perhaps you're coming upon a seasonal period of the year, for example, Christmas, and you know that you want to build a book around the New Year's. You can type in things that allow you to narrow down your search to find that style of ideas. Or you can exclude keywords if you find that time and time again, you're seeing the same exact things. A lot of Santa, a lot of Christmas, a lot of snow-oriented keywords. You can just remove those altogether by putting them in separated by a comma. You also have categories. This is, of course, where you would select books if you are looking to find profitable ideas for books. You can put in number of sellers if you want. I'm going to skip this. Variation count. Again, not all of these will be relevant for us. You have monthly sales unit and age in month. So how new or old that listing is, as well as how much volume is being moved every single month. At any point, you guys, if you don't remember what I said about a particular filter, just hover over the little question mark icon and it will tell you what it means. Then you have competing number of products. Anytime you're on a search results page, let's just go back into our search results page here. This has 972 results. That is 972 competing products. You can narrow down your search pool by inputting a min or max if you'd like. I'm going to skip this and tell you about these last 3 filters down here before I go into these 2 right here. Simply because the last 5 are really some of my favorite filters to use to find profitable ideas. At the very top, you had review rating and review count. Now that was more so for our top products on page 1. However, the bottom 3, competitor revenue reviews and ratings here, is going to be for your top 10 organic placements, meaning we're going to skip over anything that is marked sponsored and start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, for this particular niche, it seems like there's not a whole lot of sponsored results, which I like. However, for you, that might be different, and you will have to check the sponsored tag and make sure that you exclude it. when you're taking a look at these bottom 3, if I typed in a minimum of 2 and less than 150, essentially what it's telling me is that at least 2 of these, of the top 10 placements, have less than 150 reviews. Meaning if I were to come onto the marketplace with 0 reviews, I'm more likely to be able to capture the sales because there's already competitors that aren't super loaded on that social proof, but they're generating revenue. Same thing for revenue. You can say 2, 3, 6, 4, whatever you want. More than 2,500 in revenue, more than 5,000, and more than 10,000. And same exact thing for ratings. It's just a really great way, you guys, to narrow down your idea list to things that are more feasible that can help you validate without having to go through all the barrels of having to do all this work manually. Hopefully that makes sense. Then the last 2, we have title density and broad reach potential. Of course, you don't want just a really, really great book. You also want to be able to show up in front of traffic and convert for those keywords. Keyword title density is essentially telling you how many products on page 1 have the keyword or phrase inside of the title. Meaning if my title density was a max of 2, it's saying no more than 2 products on page 1 have that keyword or phrase inside of the title. As an example, if my keyword or phrase was dinosaur coloring book, then let's say that title density was 3. It's saying that only 3 of those products on page 1 have the keyword or phrase verbatim as written in the same exact tense, dinosaur coloring book, inside of the title. And we've tested this with my products, with Helium 10 products, and essentially it helps you gauge how quickly you might be able to rank on the top half of page 1. Of course, you want to rank on the top half of page 1 because most of us don't even scroll to page 2, you guys. Like, think about your own purchases. It's unlikely that you did. And you don't want to just rank for one keyword, you want to rank for multiple. So broad reach potential is going to tell you the potential of that keyword to generate new keywords once you begin running broad match campaigns. Let's go ahead and click search. I don't believe I put too many things in. Exactly, 200 plus keywords found. Now this is a good amount of keywords still found. And what I would even recommend doing is go back in and refine that search because ain't nobody got time to go through 200 plus keywords. The whole point of these filters is to really narrow it down to a more feasible amount that you can then further validate. You'll also find in the books category, sometimes you'll find that there are author names, Dan Gutman, Taylor Swift, Little Golden Book. Some things require licensing fees, so just be careful. Jonathan Evans. But this doesn't mean that these keywords or phrases wouldn't be useful to you. I actually even encourage you to save them if they are in a niche that you are interested in. For example, let's say I was interested in writing a book on habits. And one of the key phrases that pop up is Atomic Habits, James Clear. I think that's his name. That might not be relevant for me for my listing to input into my title or bullet points. However, it might be something I want to run product targeting campaigns on later on, or even just put into my description to say, hey, if you like this book, you might also like this one too. So just click the checkbox and go ahead and section it out into a folder if you'd like. Add keywords to my list. You can click create new folder if you don't already have one, and then create that folder, save, and then add it to that folder after you've created it. Okay, we have Halloween books for kids 8 through 10. We are filming this in October. So it's unlikely we'd be able to get this ready in time, but let's just open it up. And what you can do as you begin to go through these ideas, outside of just looking at the cover and trying to decipher if you can make a better cover, I also recommend looking at the retail prices. I recommend opening up your Chrome extension. If you don't have access to the Chrome extension, it's helium10.com/extension. So helium10.com/extension. Mine says remove from Chrome. Yours will say add to Chrome. Go ahead and do that because then you'll be able to access our on-browser. So directly on Amazon, you can use this tool. And we have over 6. Actually, we have alerts as well, but just underneath the home tab, you have 6 different tool settings that you can click into when you are on a product listing page. If you were just on a search results page like I am right now, then only the first 3 will be highlighted. And there's a lot you can do with that because you can click X-ray to get a 10,000 foot overview of that niche. Now, a lot of these are KDP, which is why it says not applicable. We don't have that data. However, you can take a look at their revenue. You can take a look at the title character breakdown. You can take a look at which country they're selling it or selling from. If they have physical books, you can actually see what FBA fees there are if they've pre-printed the books, alongside other things like reviews and even your sales velocity. You can click into the sales velocity to see what your sales or those sales for your competitors look like over the last 30 days, 90 days, 1 year, and all time. Check this out. This one's super interesting because it peaked last Q4-ish, and it's peaking again this Q4-ish. This would peak again next year. We can save it for next year as well. Let's say that you started inside a black box. What I recommend really doing is using this tool to find 15 to 20 product ideas that you want to shortlist. And then from there, go in and further validate them using different ideas, like, for example, opening this up, checking out the sales velocity, checking out the reviews, checking out the retail price, whether or not you could build a better cover, opening up these listings, and even seeing whether or not you can write a better description, write a better bullet point. And these sorts of things really position you to do well for long-term success. Of course, when you're building out the book, you might think, I found this really cool book idea, but I have no clue on what to write inside of it. 44 Laws of Peace book, for example. This, I'm pretty sure, is the title, but let's just run with it. As you can see, it's a title, 44 Laws of Peace. We could still absolutely write a book about this. Let's open up X-Ray. Let's just click into some of these that are generating decent revenue. And from there, click Run Cerebro. What you'll find is this automatically takes you into Cerebro. It's a reverse ASIN keyword research tool. It pulls all these different keywords from organic and sponsored and Amazon recommended, and it gives you all of these beautiful key phrases that you can then incorporate into your listing, your title, your bullet points, your ads, as well as into your book if you do this during the product research section of your selling journey. For example, 48 Laws of Peace. Of course, we know that 48 Laws of Peace will be relevant, but what happens if you maybe went in and you said exclude phrases containing peace? Would I find things that perhaps narrowed down the 7,000 plus search? Nope, still 7,000. Let's try some additional elements. It's narrowing it down, but it's not going down super quickly. Here you have meditations. Meditation might be an interesting topic to incorporate. You have the Book of Living Secrets. You have Energy, Eat, and Be Satisfied. Hidden Manifestation. And not all of these are super centralized to our idea, but if we're doing this during product research, it's definitely something that we can leverage. So we can go in, you guys will want to take a lot more time on this. I'm just kind of quickly running through this to show you a demo, how to listen to the universe. You can hover over these key phrases to see quickly what these books might be about and start creating a list of sub-chapters. Go to add to my list, do the same thing that we did before, create a new folder, type in sub-chapters for Laws of Peace, and there you have it. You can now begin building that out. Later on, you can go into AI, if that's how you're writing it, if you're getting it ghostwritten, whatever it may be, you can use that to build out an outline and say, hey, these are the topics that people are searching for. I want you to structure this into a book design, right? Book outline. So you can go in and do that. You can also alternatively do this during your keyword research phase, right when you're having that book built, but you're not quite up and listed. And you can use these keywords or phrases to build out your listing. That way, when you have this stuff written for your book, all of that allows Amazon to tie relevant keywords and phrases to your actual book itself. This is the only way your product will be discoverable. You don't want to spend a lot of time and energy building out something that isn't even searchable or indexed or ranked inside of Amazon. So make sure that you guys are doing this. As you're going through, you'll notice that we have access to a handful of different filters, just like we did inside a black box. You still have search volume, phrases containing, exclude phrases containing, which we did. I'm just going to take that out. And there are many ways that I approach keyword research. We could probably make a whole video about this all on its own, but I am going to speed through here So if you want to get a full breakdown, just click Cerebro Training. It's at the top of all of our tools. We have a little learn button that you can just click into, and it'll show you different videos, 2 to 5 minute videos that you can use to better learn how to use our tools or navigate our tools. You have the position, rank, and time period. This stuff is a little bit more relevant to the first ASIN that's pulled in, meaning if you are inside of Cerebro, the first one that you select is going to be the comparison ASIN. Here, if I typed in 1 through 15, it's going to essentially show me all the keywords where this first book, 48 Laws of Power, is going to show up somewhere in the top 15 positions. You can also use these down here to help you figure out what your top keywords for that book idea might be, or what your opportunity keywords might be. There's a little bit of a difference. We identify top opportunity keywords as keywords where multiple competitor ASINs are actually trying to rank or are ranking for a given keyword or phrase. Whereas the opportunity ones are the ones where not all your competitors are utilizing. And chances are they probably won't change their strategy overnight. So you can go in and begin ranking at the top to start generating the sales from keywords that are being underutilized by others. You'll find that there are a lot of these filters in pairs. You have count and average for sponsored, count and average for Amazon recommended, as well as competitor rank average and ranking competitors count. What you are taking a look at when it says count is how many of the listed ASINs you inputted or ISBNs you inputted are going to show up. Meaning if I say I want to see at least 2 or a max of 2 are ranking somewhere between, on average, positions 1 and 20 for sponsored, I might end up finding where my competitors are concentrating their advertising efforts. And if they're important for my competitors, chances are they are also important for me and for my book. This can help you narrow things down quickly. As you saw, it went from 7,000 plus to 1,500. You want to really get this narrowed down to like 20 to 40, you guys. So lots you could be doing to just go through and narrow it down. For example, we talked about buyer intent earlier in this video. Law is super, super broad. Law book is not even relevant because it's still too broad. You don't know what it's about. Could be about regular or general law. Could be about domestic law. I know nothing about this topic. However, you can go in and filter things out by word count filter if you'd like. If you wanted to find which keywords that Amazon believes is most relevant for this niche, you can go in and use the Amazon recommended rank count and average, as well as the organic placements here for ranking competitors count and average. So minimum of 3, 4, whatever, max of 4, or at least I want to see one of my competitors is ranking somewhere on page 1. Then you'd be able to do that by inputting this in. 1,786 filtered keywords still. Let's figure out where they're ranking in the top half of the first page. 615 filtered keywords. So very, very fast way for you guys to just input things and get them back. As you can see, we still have access to the word count, title density, keyword sales filters. You have relative rank. This is really, really useful later on if, let's say, you already have books indexed and ranking up and listed on Amazon. However, you want to optimize your listing, you can check out relative rank. And what it's telling me, I'm going to clear this out right here, is if I say I want to see where my relative rank is a minimum of 3, it's saying that from all my competitors, this first ASIN, again, remember all of the comparison stuff is to that first ISBN you put in. And if I put in a minimum of 3, I only have 5 filtered keywords from the 7,000 plus. If I scroll all the way to the right, you'll see it says relative rank right here. And this is going to be the rank of the main ASIN relative to its competitors. For example, if 2 competitors are ranked better than the main ASIN, the relative rank is 3. And I put in a minimum of 3. So as you can see here, from the 4, I am position number 3 if I were the first book. Same thing for these bottom ones. I'm ranked last here from my 4 ASINs. And this, when I'm optimizing, helps me figure out which keywords or phrases are generating sales for my competitors, but not for me. And you can begin creating a list the same way we've been doing. Click add to my list, create new folder, and maybe type in opportunity keywords or something along those lines. So really, really great stuff here, you guys. Great way to find keywords and phrases people are already typing in, to build out a book, find profitable ideas, centralize around what people are already talking about, and then even go in and ensure that not only do you have that high quality book, but you also have the keywords and phrases built into your listing to ensure your book is discoverable. From there, you're going to go into Listing Builder, which is underneath Listing Optimization. And when you do that, you're going to end up finding the listing builder looking like this. You're going to click Add a Listing at the top right-hand corner, click Create from Scratch or Optimize Your Listing depending on which state of your selling journey you're in. I'm going to click Create from Scratch and just click Start Building. The tool allows you to input things 3 different ways. You can create a bank of keywords for your listing from the lists you've already built. This whole time I've been telling you about creating folders and adding those keywords to the folders. You can actually just go in and add them here. I actually am just going to use a test folder here. For example, you have marriage workbook. And as you can see, when I click add to bank, it shows up on the right-hand side. You can also go in and click get keyword suggestions at the very top, where you add an ASINs and it gives you a output of keywords to use. But I like just building out those folders inside Cerebro and Magnet because it is a lot more holistic of a view and you have so much more control over which keywords and phrases you want to use. And then you can also manually add things in. Let's say you and I were talking and you mentioned something that I think is really, really cool. You can go in and add it in that way. Let's click next. What's super cool about Listing Builder is on the left-hand side, you are always going to be able to track how many keywords and phrases you've used from all the ones that you inputted in. I have done this manually and it's so tedious and so time consuming, but here you can actually go in and just begin creating your list. I like to go in with my phrase form keywords first with the heavy hitters. Let's say I'm building a couples therapy book. Couples therapy, the inner work of relationships book. You can do that, or let's say this book was actually about forgiving what you can't forget. The shadow work journal edition. Something like that, right? Just super basic. And on the left-hand side, it's getting crossed off. Okay, we like to see that. We want to get 15 to 20 phrase form as relevant as possible without overstuffing. So if it looks like it's overstuffed, don't bother doing 15 to 20. Just go in with 5 or 10 heavy hitters, and then you can go in with your word roots. Word roots are essentially these different words that are showing up in a handful of different phrases. And so you can go in with 1 word root or 2 word root and begin indexing or ranking for a handful of additional keywords, even if they're not in the full phrase form. And just so you understand, phrase form means literally everything verbatim as it is. Couples therapy is written as couples therapy in that tense. If you have, say, word roots, couples, let's see if that's over here. Yeah, couples is a singular word, but it's going to help me show up for anything where couples is showing up inside of the key phrase, right? And underneath, as you scroll through and you begin filling out your listing, you're going to see a keyword performance score and keyword performance rank. I don't want you to focus so much on the listing quality score because this tool is made for private label sellers and not all of it will be relevant. You guys will actually just be concentrating your efforts on the product title, changing out one of the bullet points to 4,000 characters because that is all you have for your description as a KDP author. And then you'll have these 7 back-end keywords as well. As you're building out your listing, something you will want to pay attention to is going to be your keyword performance score at the bottom, as well as your keyword performance rank. Keyword performance rank is only updated once you've added in your competitors. So go ahead and click add competitors. And if you want, just type those ASINs in right here. You can enter up to 20. I'm going to X out of that and scroll over to this keyword performance score. And this is where you want to get this up as high as possible, as well as ensure you are way ahead of your competition. If you can get into that first spot, that's really going to be ideal. At the bottom, it shows you the breakdown of the keyword match and search volume. If you're interested in what this means, just again, hover over the eye icon and it's going to tell you. And last but not least, let's jump into Keyword Tracker underneath Analytics. You are going to need to track a whole lot of different rankings for keywords and phrases because as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you don't want to just rank for one, you want to rank for multiple keywords and ASINs, keywords and key phrases, right? So then you're going to click Add Products, add in ASIN, and from there, add in any keywords you want to be at the top of rankings for. From there, you're going to see the tracked number of keywords. You can edit this at any time if you want to go back in and refine. You can add in your competitors, see how many of those keywords are you showing up in the top 10 organic placements for, top 50 organic placements for, as well as the same thing for sponsored keywords and top 50 sponsored keywords. You have the associated search volume listed underneath each of these based on how many of those keywords or phrases you're tracking are showing up in those positionings. And then any sort of suggestions will appear on the right-hand side. At any point, if you run an external campaign, for example, BookBeam or anything like that, you can add in notes and tags to keep organized. I'm going to click this drop-down button, and you'll see that this quickly lets me see all 12 that I'm tracking for this particular listing, alongside its search volume with the graph icon that lets us see the historical data for that particular key phrase. And then you have the competing number of products and how the organic rank and sponsored rank has changed. This is super, super important because if, let's say, you're seeing your rankings are dropping, you can always go back in and try to consider how you might want to do things differently. Something else I really like to reference is the CPR number. Now, this is an insane CPR number. This would be a keyword or phrase that I would stay away from. But if your CPR number, let's say, was 24, basically what CPR number is how many products you need to give away at a discounted value over the course of 8 days to rank on the top half of page 1. Now, we've tested this before, and it doesn't mean it's going to take you all 8 days to rank up the top half of page 1. In fact, you can sometimes start ranking as fast as day 2 or 3. But day 8 is typically what we recommend just to help you sustain that ranking at the top half of page 1 for the longest amount of time possible. So if it's 24 for CPR, it's saying that you need to sell 3 units per day for that keyword, where people are going to that keyword and clicking into your listing and buying it. You can run an exact match campaign later on. And of course, this is a more advanced strategy. So this is not so much for my beginner sellers. You guys can plug your ears for now. But later on, you can go in and set an exact match campaign for that keyword or phrase and begin pausing out that campaign once your CPR number hits for the day. And over the course of 8 days, you will rank on the top half of page 1. There you have it. That is all I'm going to cover for this video. There's actually quite a bit more information, but I think there's been a lot of information thrown at you. And so I want you to have the opportunity to pause, rewind, check out your notes, and actually process this by trying things hands-on. I think that is the best way to digest this information, as I have reiterated time and time again in this video.